Hi, folks. This is Rick Doc Walker, the DOC.
This is John Kime, and you're listening to the Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted.
What's going on, Rally? How you doing, man?
Oh, brother, it's Wednesday. The weather's halfway decent. The fog has lifted, or the smog, or the soot, whatever you want to say, from Canada. And hey, man, it's a beautiful day, and I'm ready to get into the mess hall with you, my brother. The question is, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, you said it. All that smog, whatever the hell it was, all that Canadian junk is gone. We get to enjoy. We get to relax. The team is off for 6 weeks. So hopefully no on-field drama between now and then. So I'm looking forward to going over that with you. And I was looking forward to the other day, being yesterday, Tuesday, going out to that OTA practice, but coach decided to cancel it. So curious what you were thinking about that, because we lost 2 practices because of last year's excessive contact. So a couple of the guys got taken to the ground. Rivera chewed them out and lit a fire into them because you knew they were going to get in trouble. So now
they did.
Yep, they got caught, and now we had less OTA sessions. And Rivera actually said that he wanted to basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he wanted to get a gauge of his guys' maturity. And are they going to show up when they're not mandated to show up? Because everybody was there for mandatory minicamp, but we had a couple guys that weren't there when it was voluntary. And yesterday would have been voluntary. And I wanted to see who was actually going to post. Do you care, or not really that big a deal?
Well, here we are with that big word again. You know, that 4-syllable word, voluntary. You know, say it fast, voluntary. So I think what probably happened was somebody planted a bug in his ear, and they said, "Hey, coach, I'm not going to be here tomorrow." And probably someone else said it. And let's face it, the coach has a pretty good gauge of what's going on in the locker room. So instead of looking stupid and becoming another headline in the press, just go ahead and circumvent it before it gets started and give the guys off.
So the guys didn't have off. They just didn't practice on the field. They still had to come in and get a workout. They still had to have meetings. And they actually said, and this is a tweet from Nikki Javala, Commanders won't have an OTA day Tuesday. Would have been their last before the break. Coaches felt the offseason went well and was well attended, and they didn't want to risk further injury. Players will just have meetings and a light workout Tuesday to cap their offseason program. So I get not wanting to risk injury.
Yeah.
But the last time they were on the field, the first team offense actually got kicked off the field by Bieniemy because they got stuff wrong when they were installing a play. And Bieniemy just ripped them a new one and made them run off the field. Wouldn't you think that would help out another day?
It goes back to what I was telling you about the whole Warren Sapp thing, man. How much are those guys realistically going to maintain or I'm sorry, retain from 2 4-hour sessions? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it looks good. It feels good. But man, in this society nowadays, bro, we forget what we had for dinner yesterday. So we forget more than we remember. And if it was more repetitiveness, then I would say, okay, I'm just saying, I don't really know what to think because I'm not an NFL player.
I hear you. And it's not your job to remember what you had for dinner, but it is their job to get these plays installed, right? It is their job to understand this new playbook with a quote unquote wordy system. So you would think the more repetitions, regardless if you get a break, the more it's going to get ironed into your brain.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. What I'm saying is, obviously, they saw something that sparked them. Let's take injury out of it, okay? Because to me, injury is a catch-all. You got to say that to make everybody feel good.
Oh, yeah.
But if by chance, let's say, for instance, they did retain 98% of the playbook, then yes, go ahead and give it to them off. But I have to believe that if they didn't, then their butts would have been there today.
And here's my thing is, since Rivera's been here, he has always given the last day of OTAs as kind of an off day for the guys. So this isn't something new. And if FanDuel had odds on it, odds were going to be they weren't going to have to practice or do anything. But he literally questioned his players, I guess, maturity level. And then he backed down. You're the head coach of this team. To me, you're showing me you don't have a backbone if I'm a player, because you're challenging me. And then when it's time for the challenge, you kind of cower back in your office and don't call us out on it. So that's how I'm looking at this is, and from a fan's perspective, when he put out there that he wants to see who shows up, then I want to see it too, because I'm questioning certain players. I don't want to say dedication, but commitment to this program and actually getting us where we need to go and winning again. And it would have been another small test, not the midterm, not the final exam, but it would have been a little bit of a pop quiz to see who actually posted, because we were supposed to have practice. Because to me, you could have got the guys to show up for Tuesday because they had to anyway. But when they're out there in pads, and they wouldn't have been in pads, they would have been in their, hats and shorts, helmets and shorts. Yeah. So you get them out there, or you get them all ready to go out there. And next thing you know, hey guys, you did good job. We're just going to cancel this. We're just going to go to the meeting room. You don't do it a day beforehand, so the players can't call your bluff. You do it that morning, so you can then call them out or have the media call them out for the guys that didn't post, because the guys that were on vacation in Bora Bora, I think Antonio Gibson's taking his family to Hawaii. That to me is the way to do it. That was just the only issue I had, because I could care less if they were on the field or not. It's just understanding the dedication from some of the guys that were not there is what I got a problem with.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. Hey, you said this was going to happen, and you reneged basically, and now it makes you look weaker. But do you think that it makes, in the players' eyes, them look weaker, or the outside media's eyes him look weaker? Because maybe in the players' eyes, do you think that maybe that they are happy that the coach did that for them?
I'm sure they're happy.
And sometimes, let's face it, they always say, what, a happy wife, a happy life. Well, maybe if you have a happy players, they will go that extra mile for you. So,
I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe.
Okay.
But we all saw how Club J worked out. His players were happy. They had ping pong tables. They were having a dance party. And we saw how that related to the field performance. I mean, to me, if I'm a player, it makes me not believe him 100% in what he's saying. And is he actually going to follow through on stuff? But I'm also happy that I'm not going to be running around potentially pulling a hamstring or getting dinged up before I've got 6 weeks off with my family and I got to come back and report all over again for training camp. So that to me is the good part.
And what's the first day of training camp?
First day of training camp, I want to say is the 27th, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So we got some time.
Yeah, we do. I was just saying, hey, in the back of our minds, the 27th, but continue on, sir.
But before we get to training camp, so last we talked, Josh Harris met with the NFL Finance Committee. And good news is last night, and I think it kind of went under the radar, Ben Fisher from the Sports Business Journal said the NFL owners have been told to reserve July 20th and August 8th as dates for a possible special league meeting. Sources said that it's a strong sign the league thinks it can get the Commanders deal to a final vote by one of those 2 days. And Harris actually changed the financing in his deal, or agreed to change the financing in his deal last Wednesday when he met with the owners committee, which was apparently, I think, the last major hurdle for getting the owners to vote and get this thing done. We talked about how there was a breakup fee and how it had to happen within either 60 to 90 days of that May 12th exclusivity agreement. Well, the July date is 69 days for May 12th, and the August date is 88 days. So that being said, I mean, I'm not shocked that that's kind of the time frame that we're thinking. All I know is I plan on being in town and having some champagne, and hopefully no one in PGPD is hearing this, but meet me at FedEx Field so we can all celebrate together.
Well, there you have it. We will be meeting Tailgate Ted, Rally Captain, FedEx Field when this is done to pop some bottles. You heard it here first.
I'm just hoping the team's not listening, but I mean, we are close, man, because I was downtown at one of my favorite restaurants grabbing some passes for a 4th of July thing.
Okay.
And one of the guys there, he's good friends with D. Smith from Players Union, and he sees me walk into my Commander's gear. He's like, man, this thing ain't happening. He's not selling this damn team. It's like, dude, it's happening. It's going to go through.
We still have naysayers, huh?
We do, man. And to me, those people don't listen to the podcast, so I got to give him crap for not listening. Yeah. But there are still people that do listen, and we get text messages on the hotline wondering, hey, I don't know if this is going to go through. This is just another reason for you guys to believe. Did you ever watch that that Ted Lasso show just ended?
Ted Lasso show. Which one is that? I don't know.
It was on Apple TV. Ted Lasso, he was a coach, and he went out to Europe. It's pretty funny.
Don't have Apple TV.
So his saying was believe, and he had kind of a sign over top in the locker room, over top the coach's office.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, without spoiling it for people that haven't actually finished the finale, it's just something that people kind of say. And to me, it's like, all you Commanders / WFT / Redskins fans, these are 2 dates that they're being told. These guys are going to get this done. This is happening. And our first preseason game. Oh, yeah, one way or the other. And our first preseason game is August 11th. So I don't think it's a shocker that these dates are happening right then.
Brother, when it happens, I, like you, will be very, very happy. I can't even put it into words, man. Just let it happen. We know it's going to happen. Just let it happen. And I, for one, will be just flabbergasted. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Well, this is actually a quote from Ron Rivera talking about what it would mean to get this done before training camp, which is the 27th of July.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the sale, how much would it help to have that settled by the time training camp begins?
I think it'll help a lot. I mean, there's still some things that we've got to be able to move on from and have decided on. And so that's just the biggest part of it, is just, you know, being able to get all those other little details taken care of that we need to have taken care of. So that's a big part of it for us.
Can I follow up real quick? When everything's on hold for like the contract talks, can you? I know you can, but have you guys still been in contact with the agents to gauge kind of what?
Well, what we've tried to do more than anything else, just kind of let everybody know exactly what you said. We're kind of on hold, you know, and you know, and just being able to let those people know that, hey, guys, just a matter of time. You know, we've got to go through this. You know, we've got to be able to present the plan to the ownership, and you know, they've got to be in agreement with it too. I mean, we can't go on until we get a chance to explain to them exactly what our thoughts and ideas are and whether they agree or disagree. I mean, that's going to be very important to be able to you know, to get those kind of answers going forward. To help this organization. More than anything else, this really is about making sure we're in the right position going forward more than anything else.
So we could be there and have this thing done and hopefully maybe get some of these contract disputes or possible extensions out of the way, because we all heard Cam Curl talk about how he just wants to be here with his guys and he's healthy. He didn't really do anything during, you know, mini camp and all that fun stuff. What's he going to do during training camp? Is he actually going to participate, or is he going to try and look out for him and then just do stuff on the side once they're done with individuals? I'll be curious to see what happens, but man, we are so close to almost being out of limbo. And I hope, you know, on top of the fact that all the different special stuff they're doing for training camp for fans, we get a chance to see these owners see what kind of commitment they have to these existing players that are on this roster.
So okay, let's play a little game. You're the Rails group. You're the Rails group, and you know, or the Harris group, Harris Rails group, and you know that there are players that you want to sign. I'm hoping as an owner right now, you're doing your due diligence on hypothetically Cam, and you say, hey man, this guy looks really good. And he's asking for hypothetically, let's just say $5 million. That's hypothetical. Okay. Just hypothetical, just throw a number up. He's asking for $5 million. Do you go ahead and do you feel it as though they are talking about this right now, or do you feel that they're waiting to make sure that everything goes through?
I think that they got to be talking about this now. You know, it's like you're about to buy a house, right? Everything is going through, but your closing isn't there yet. You're already planning what furniture you're going to get. You're already thinking about what grill you're going to stick in the backyard. You're already prepping to move in. You may be not buying it yet, but you're doing your research. You're looking stuff up. You're making sure you're ready to go and you can hit the ground running. So you can have that housewarming party and then have that big old barbecue in the backyard, whatever it is. So to me, it's the same thing with these guys. And it's not their first sports franchise that they're going to be running. So I hope and pray that they're competent and that they're going with outside recommendations. There are a ton of consultants out there. What was it? Scott McLuhan was a consultant before he came here. Jay Gruden was a consultant for the Rams last year. You know, they could be reaching out to guys like that. I don't want to use guys that have past history with the franchise, but just as an example, to try and see what they should do, because Cam's contract, he's still under contract, but he wants to get paid and he should get paid, and they should make it a priority to lock him up before, just like the team did with Terry last offseason, right before training camp. So we know he's going to be here.
Definitely. I'm hoping that, like you said, that they are doing their due diligence and they are hypothetically shopping on Amazon, putting everything in the queue. So when things happen, they can just hit send and it's a done deal. Because
drives me crazy, man.
We need everybody, man. We need
my
everybody.
wife does that.
She puts it in the queue.
Oh my gosh, man. She just puts stuff in the Amazon cart, right? And I hope Miss Tailgate's not listening to this, but next thing you know, I add one thing to the cart and it says, you've got 18 things ready. It's like, what are you talking about? She just saves stuff in the cart. And then one time I accidentally hit buy, and then all of it got sent. So I had to cancel the order. But you know what? For these guys, I'm hoping they're ready to go. They're ready to buy. They've got the money to pay these guys. So we should be good. But one of the guys that I'm a little curious about on what they're going to do, because it came out recently, and granted, this was from a kind of a Steelers SB Nation blog talking about Chase Young trade rumors. And Bleacher Report put another article out there, potential spots for Chase Young to go in a trade. Basically, once we didn't exercise his fifth-year option, people are thinking maybe we can trade for this guy. Do you think we should?
Yeah. It depends on what we get for him. I mean, I always say players come and go, coaches come and go, you know, so this wouldn't be any different. And I think we are tied to Chase because A, homegrown, B, he had a good rookie season, and we're kind of still in that what if with him. You know, well, what if he has a great year and we don't want to trade him to somebody and he balls out like so many people have done with our organization? We've gotten rid of him and they've gone to another team and balled out. So there's all these what if factors that are going on. And at some point in time, you got to put that away and look at apples and oranges and go from there. So to answer your question, what are we getting for him? Point blank.
Typically, when you're trying to trade someone like this, his value is less because you decided not to exercise his option. So if a team picks him up, they don't have control over him next season. And if he does ball out, then they'd have to franchise tag him or extend him or offer him a contract extension before he hits the market. So his value isn't as much as it should be, even though he was a defensive rookie of the year in 2020. He's only had 1.5 sacks since then. He played 9 games, hasn't done a ton. So his value is probably around a 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick, and that's being generous. So
To that, I say no.
yeah,
I say no, because at this point, let's go ahead and roll the dice. And if he balls out, which everyone believes that he will, then pay the man. If not, then you up this trade value to get more from him. So, we're in a good position right now, I feel, as far as the whole Chase Young is concerned.
yeah. I don't know if I believe that he's going to ball out because he hasn't showed me that he can do that consistently. He hasn't proven to me that he is that defensive rookie of the year, and we'll have to wait and see what he does. I'm looking forward to him proving all the doubters wrong. And I'm concerned that the relationship between Chase and this team is damaged to the point of it may not be able to be repaired. And if he does ball out, he's going to go because he doesn't like how we treated him. To me, part of the issue is you've got a coach that is also the head of personnel. And we always say your coach is focused on right now, game by game, not long term. If Rivera were to trade for him and we were only going to get draft picks that we can't even use because a draft is done, it wouldn't happen until next year. Rivera most likely isn't coaching this team next year. So what does he give a damn about?
Yeah.
Getting a draft pick. So he needs the best Chase that he can possibly get. And that young man has got to ball out like Duran did if he wants to get paid. So I'm with you.
Don't you think that there's going to be extra motivation for him to be able to do that? I think there is.
I would agree with you in a normal scenario, but I don't think this is a normal scenario. Because to me, extra motivation would have been, you don't take my 5th-year option, I'm going to be at voluntary workouts to show you what you're missing. And I get that they're not going crazy, but I'm going to be there to prove you wrong. And you're questioning my maturity and my dedication to a degree. Well, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. And he did not do that. He was out in Colorado doing stuff out there. He wasn't with his teammates. Cam Curl, for example, to me, did it right. Deron Payne last year had an issue with his contract, did it right. He still showed up. Chase, in my opinion.
Begrudgingly, he still showed up.
Yeah, but he did everything he needed to. And then when it came down to team workouts, he was on the side field doing his stuff. That to me is why Chase is not showing me personally, and this is just Tailgate's opinion, but not showing me that he is worth and going to actually ball out and do what he needs to do, because he's not there getting tutelage from Ryan Kerrigan, from Jeff Scanina, to even be around his teammates. Phil Mathis got hurt first game last year. Phil's going to be lining up beside him at plays. Wouldn't you want to get a chance to actually see how he handles different scenarios? And I get it's just a couple of days in spring.
Yeah.
To me, man, it's that camaraderie that you're not building with your team that Cam Curl was doing.
So what happens if in the media's eyes, I don't say anything to you, but behind the scenes, I'm saying, hey guys, you're my guys, and I'm going to be there when I get back from training my knee, or whatever the insider scoop that the D linemen have with each other. So I hear what you're saying, but what happens if the camaraderie and the brotherhood has already been built, and I've already talked to you, and I could care less about what outside people see. I've already talked to you. You're my man, Ted, and you know secrets about me as well as I know secrets about you that the general public doesn't know. So because of that, screw what everybody else thinks. What do you think about me one-on-one? And I'd go to bat for you as well as you. I believe you go to bat for me. So screw what everybody else think, because when it comes down to it, I've already talked to you guys. I've already said, hey man, I'm going to be out doing this, that, and the other. But when it comes down to it, I'm here for you guys. I'll be there. Just bank on it. Just don't let the outside noise fool you. I'm here for you guys.
I don't think his teammates are going to question him, because the cleat can easily be on the other foot and they can be in that situation. So I don't think they would ever publicly say anything. But to me, actions speak louder than words. What are your actions? And he's rah-rah on the sideline, running up and down when he wasn't able to play, and even when he was able to come back. But his actions were not that of the second pick in the NFL draft. And he needs to prove it. He needs to prove he's worthy of it.
And I'm not saying that he does need to prove it, but what I'm saying is, prior to camp, what if he had a meeting with his teammates and said, hey guys, I'm going to be in Colorado doing more work on this knee to come back and help you guys out. Me being with you guys right now isn't helping the team. Yeah, it looks good, but it's not going to help the team. What's going to help the team is me continuing to get this rehab that I need for when it really comes down to the blood, sweat, and tears of this. And right now, you know, screw the outside noise. I'm talking to my boys right now. You guys understand where I'm coming from, right? Right. Yeah, Chase, we got you, man. We understand. Do what you got to do to get yourself together, because we want the real you, not the studio you, so to speak. So what if he said that already and we just don't know about
even
it?
if he did say that, his teammates aren't going to say, no, that ain't cool. His teammates aren't going to call him out and be like, nah, you got to be here with the rest of us.
Behind closed doors, you don't know, bro. They may.
I don't think so, man. I really don't think that they're going to call him out and be like, nah, you got to show up. I don't think John Allen, as captain, is going to tell Chase, you got to be here for voluntary workouts. It's like,
how about
he's an adult.
Okay, how about this? Hey, I'm going to try to get my best John Allen voice going. Hey, Chase, I really would like for you to show up, but I understand if you can't show up. You're a man just like I am. But hey, man, just, you know, if you could, we'd appreciate it, because we really would like to see you. And it would quiet all the noise, but I understand if you're not. But you're still my boy. How about that? How'd that go? Is that okay?
I'm going to cut this up and I'm going to tweet it to John. So, but I mean, I hear you, man. To me, it's just, you talk about quieting the noise. I am sure they were tired of being asked two questions. Stuff about Dan Snyder and the sale of this team.
Yeah.
And Chase. They just want off the field stuff to just go away and just focus on the field. And speaking of which, you know, actually Riggos Rag had an article that they posted. Those of you out there that listen to this show, I'm sure you probably are familiar with this site. They got a bunch of great content. But in this article, and I was wrong, I did not think the team was going to be able to sign Daron Payne and John Allen. I still don't think they should have signed Daron Payne, but the fact is they did. It's just a lot of money next year at the defensive tackle position. I think we're talking close to $60 million. But in this article in Riggos Rag, it actually talks about, can the team afford, assuming these guys ball out, to keep Chase Young and Montez Sweat? And jumping into the details, it actually says, because of all of the rookie deals that we've got going on, because Sam Howell is so young, because Jahan Dotson's so young, Brian Robinson is so young, that they actually have the ability, if they wanted to sign Sweat and sign Young. Looking at the cap numbers next season, based upon this, including everyone else's contract, they say that the team will have $83 million to spend next year. And that's including potentially giving Cam Curl a contract extension for about $13 million a season. Knowing that they've got that $83 million. And if they extend those guys, the new ownership would still have roughly $30 million in cap space to sign other guys. So Chase balls, Montez balls, either you got to franchise one and you give the other one a contract extension. They're saying you'll have $30 million in space. Would Rally, captain, the new GM for Josh Harris, offer these two guys a long-term deal to stick around the burgundy and gold?
Rally captain would always love for the guys to stick around the burgundy and gold, but I got to take my rally captain hat off and go with management. Management says, well, we just signed a stud defensive end from Clemson. So I think that I'm going to go with more youth and see what I can get on the wire for one of these guys. Don't know which one, but we're going to just see what we can get on the wire to see what we can do and go from there.
Let's be real. You can't get anything for them because they're free agents. So they just walk at that point, and you would get a compensatory pick, I believe. Actually, no, I don't even think you get a compensatory pick. But they're just gone. They're not here. And for the record, I agree with you. I would rather take that $83 million and use that on other positions of this team. To me, we have not addressed the biggest question. Okay. Second to third biggest question for this team, offensive line. You are still super weak at left guard.
Yeah.
You got to do something about that position. Is Nick Gates going to be your solution at center? We got to stop shopping in the bargain basket for linemen if we really want this team to actually do something on the offensive side. You talked about Eric Bieniemy's offense getting us 10 extra points a season. I don't think it's going to happen with this offensive line. And I want us to invest in not just 4 position players on that field. We got to spread the wealth around a little bit.
Well, we know that it is coming. Eventually, it's going to happen. Like I said, it may not happen tomorrow, but eventually, brother, it is going to happen. And I think that the whole thing behind Bieniemy's offense is you're going to see a lot of movement, which is going to be able to, okay, it's going to, I believe, kind of like how we had an inept line with RG3 was here, but RG3 made the line look a little bit better because of his mobility. Let's not forget, Sam is mobile. He really is. And so that's going to help a lot. Not taking away the fact that we still need the lineman, but I think that they're seeing that, okay, we're going to put him in motion a lot. We're going to do some other things to get the ball out of his hand quicker so that the line necessarily won't be as bad as we know or as porous as it was last year. I don't think it'll be as bad because of the movement.
Hoping it won't be. And I mean, the movement, we're just talking about receivers, tight ends, running backs. To me, a lot of the problems were right up the middle. I don't know how many times we saw Andrew Norwell look like he was on rollerblades and just getting pushed right back into Carson or right back into Taylor. And Taylor could scramble too. So Taylor had the ability to still get out of those things, and he just didn't have the arm to be able to make some of the throws once he scrambled, or he threw the ball down the field with his eyes closed. But, you know, I would just like a better, I mean, this team is famous for its offensive line, right? The NFL has made its rules to the point of it favors the offense. If you can actually give those wide receivers a couple of seconds to get down the field and win their routes, that DB is going to hold you. You're going to get PI. But if Sam doesn't have the time, whoever it is, to actually get that ball down the field, because we know he's got the arm, then it doesn't matter. And that's what I want us to actually focus on, because this is all assuming that Sam is the guy and he's going to be able to do what he needs to do. And we'll wait and see. One of the questions, though, was, did Howell show enough to Ron and EB that he should be the starter going into training camp? And this is what Ron said.
Did Sam show you enough through minicamp to kind of keep this QB1 spot for now going into camp? And is that, you know, kind of the plan?
Yeah, he's pretty much shown us what we want to see. I mean, again, he's young. We know he's young. He's a second-year player who, you know, got an opportunity to start last year. But there is a lot of room for growth, and we know that. But he's got a good skill set. You know, he's mobile. He's got good foot movement. He's got quick twitch to him. Good decision maker. You know, he's still learning to make those decisions, but he's also got the arm talent, and that's the thing that, you know, that excites us.
What else is he going to say?
I know he's not going to say anything else. Oh, I mean, he has said that it's going to be a competition. So, you know, he
do you really believe that?
No. He's got to say, he doesn't have to say it, but he's got to know in his head that it's Sam's job. And according to people that were out there, reporters, fans, I was out there, Brissett had a lot of checkdowns. They basically, I think it was the Beltway Football Pod, kind of equated Jacoby Brissett to Alex Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was chucking the ball, not chucking it, but like dinking and dunking it down the field and hitting the little flat guys and the running back, stuff like that. Nothing really
The
tested.
safe route, the safest route.
And to me, that's not what I want to see. I want to see the enemy's offense. I want to see some other guys get actually leveraged here and go down the field. Now, when you're going against your own teammates, let's not make up, but let's actually try and gamble a little bit here and see if we can make those throws when we're not doing against another team and we're still shooting blanks. We're not using live rounds, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Howell. And I'm happy that Ron said that, because there's not enough balls to go around. There's not enough reps to go around during training camp to have those guys split drills with the ones. To my knowledge, Howell's the only one that actually had reps with the ones. Jacoby didn't. So I'm actually happy that Ron said this for a change. He usually pisses me off when he talks, but hey, this time I pat on the back.
No, look out. Oh, there's a one up for Ted and Ron. The bromance has begun. Let me find out.
We're getting there. He's part
Okay.
Filipino, so I feel bad, not being his friend, if you will, but yeah, he's got to earn it.
All right. Okay. Well, I feel that, we're in this position because Howell did show enough for the one preseason game and obviously the last game of the season. And let's face it, it's minicamp. It's minicamp. I want you to make all the mistakes that you can make right now. Right now, this is the time to do it all, but at the same time, still show me what you can do, when the time comes. Are you seeing what I need you to see? Are you seeing, when that linebacker does this, what's your read? As long as he's doing that, and he may be throwing some picks or whatever have you, I'm okay with it right now. Like you said, it means nothing. But what are you doing right? And that's what I want to focus on. And as far as Brissett is concerned, if he is doing check downs, one of the things that we hated as fans with Alex Smith is, God dang it, man, throw the ball down the field. And he had an arm to be able to do it. And one thing I've seen Brissett's arm. He has an arm, but why do the check down? Is it something that you're not seeing just yet? And maybe the coaches can go back into the film room and bring that up to him and say, hey, why didn't you throw the ball, down here? But when Brissett was with Cleveland, he did kind of the same thing. So this isn't anything new per se.
Yeah. And for me, it's kind of comparing it to Kirk Cousins. That playoff game that he had, was it against the Giants? Was that the last game he had? And it was 4th down. He needed to go, I want to say maybe it was 7 or 8 yards. And he threw a check
15. I think it was 15. Yeah.
He threw a check down. He didn't even try and get it to the sticks or past the sticks. It's like
8 yards.
This doesn't even count right now. This is minicamp. Let's throw the freaking ball. Let's see if you can actually tell me that you know where to go in this offense. And part of it is, you're going against other offensive players that aren't even playing defense. They're literally just standing there and holding a spot on the field, and you're throwing a dump pass to a running back. So I am happy to see that he's not going to be wasting reps with the ones that Howell is not going to get. I'm happy to see that at least as of now, they're going to get a chance to give Sam everything he needs to succeed. And the team did announce that we were off by a couple of days, that training camp is going to start on July 27th. So
can't wait.
I'm right there with you, man. And we mentioned it last week on the pod that there is no lottery. All you have to do is go sign up on the team's website. It is commanders.com/training-camp. Just type in training camp Commanders and it'll pop up. But the good news is, doesn't cost a single thing to go. There is no lottery, right? The parking is free, but there are some caveats with that. Shoot.
Here's the question that I've always had, and I need to ask: why do I have to sign up and get a ticket if it's free? Why can't you, as an organization, have a couple of the counters, the spinning counters that people walk through to see exactly how many people showed up versus why do I have to go online and do anything if it's free?
So I'll tell you why.
Okay, listen, bring it to me. I want to hear this.
They want to know how much staff they need for those days. They know there's going to be some attrition. They want to know, do we need to triple security? Do we need to get more merchandise in the merch tent? Do we need to tell the food trucks that are going to be out there to prepare for 10,000 people versus 2,000 people? That's really why. It's the same thing at the stadium when they've had different free stuff there.
I did all that and I'm not coming.
They know
some
there's
people,
attrition. Yeah.
Some people will do it just to do it. Okay, but how about this? Plan for the worst. Plan for the worst. Just bring.
I agree with you.
Bring what you know. See. Here's the issue that I have. All right, and don't get me wrong. I love this team and I love the organization. So anybody that's screw you. The fact of the matter is, this is your first time in Ashburn well, not the first time, but under the new regime that you're allowing everyone to come. We saw what happens when you say, nope, you can't come to this or it's private. We saw what happened. So now you're opening it up to everyone. And because you're opening it up to everyone, then prepare for everyone. I get you, man. Okay, they want to make sure they got 2,000 cheesesteaks or they got 2,000 shirts, whatever. I get you. But how about this? Have it there anyway. Have it there anyway. Because
I agree with you.
What happens if you set out that 2,000? You
always plan, just like the tailgate. The tailgate doesn't cost anybody to show up, right? I get people that sign up. I don't charge anything. We just ask for a donation. I know that 30% of those people are not going to show up. Yeah, they're just not going to post. I know that if it's going to be a raining game, that the people that are going to show up late. So I just know in my head not to buy enough food for everyone showing up. And I'm actually looking at the waiver where you've got to sign up right now. It would not surprise me if part of your information was being given to sponsors. To me, what is power is information nowadays. So getting to have Joe Blow fans' email address and phone number to then sell that to potential sponsors, to then say, hey, SeatGeek, you're handling all of our ticketing. Because I'm sure you're getting the email just like I am. All the SeatGeek crap that I get now for different events that I have no desire to go to.
Don't want it.
Yeah. But you're going to get it because that's who handles all the Commanders ticketing. And that's who's handling the ticketing for training camp. So because of that, that's why they want you to sign up too, because the agreement with SeatGeek, they're getting your information, man. So you sold her brother's information. Dang. Yeah. I'm gonna say that's also another reason, but I do know for a fact that they want to make sure that they just have the right staff. And when I talked to the team last year, they didn't think that they were going to have as many fans that wanted to come out to training camp as they did, and they were wrong. It blew up in their face, this whole lottery system. So sure. Well, one thing that we also know is if you say you can't come, people will bitch and moan and say, I really wanted to come and didn't have a plan to come anyway. But I think that this is a new day with the DS era coming to an end and so many people wanting to come back. And I get it, it's during the day, but how about this? That's Saturday? Oh, you better have everybody on deck. That opening practice on Saturday, you better bring everybody because I see a lot of people showing up. And even the first day, people want to be involved. And God forbid, if by chance they are selected for Hard Knocks, need I say more? I hope to God we're not. I actually wanted to get your feedback on that and kind of your opinion. Do you think, would you be okay? But for those that don't know, Hard Knocks has 3 rules. A team doesn't have to be on the show if any of these apply to them. If they have a first-year head coach in place, if they have a playoff berth in the past 2 seasons, or they have appeared on Hard Knocks in the past 10 years. We haven't had any of those. Our playoff was in 2020. So that doesn't count. So there are only 4 teams that the NFL can force to be on Hard Knocks: the New Orleans Saints, the Chicago Bears, the New York Jets, or the Washington Commanders. I don't want us to be on Hard Knocks this year. I don't want the extra noise. I don't want all those cameras there in guys' faces and us being another headline for something that was said during a Hard Knocks episode versus how the guys actually played in practice. That's just me. I know fans and a lot of people would actually love it, but I want them to focus on football for a change and not deal with the cameras in their face. Curious what you think.
Well, Ted, I got to tell you, I disagree with you, bro. I think that it would actually be a good look for the organization, if you will, a redemption story, or redemption piece, rather. I think that players have cameras put in their faces all the time. I mean, we pay these guys to be professional athletes, they've got to give interviews, so many interviews a week. They have to do it. So this just, to me, isn't anything any different than any other week, except for it's premiered on Hard Knocks. But the NFL is bigger than HBO. So they're used to having cameras on them at any given time, any part of the day. You don't know what paparazzi is following them around. There's always somebody doing something. So I say no. I say, hey, man, let it happen. Let it happen. Let it be organic, and let them show Washington in a good light. Because what we always know is Hard Knocks will give you a little bit of a bad teaser, but they will always make the NFL product look good. And I see that it could be a good look. It could be a redemption story.
So they partner with the NFL. The NFL is not going to partner with them if they're just going to show dysfunction. So they're going to put a spin on things. And, in the end, it's going to be a happy ending. But I don't agree with you with the fact that the cameras are always on, because during practice, whether it's camp, mini, or training or what, the media cannot film all of it. When they go to team drills and certain portions of it, they can't have their cameras on. The only cameras that are there are the team's cameras. We talked about it last week, how, on the Twitter feed, you see Jahan Dotson or De'Ami Brown catching a bomb from Sam. They're not showing you the wide shot where there was no one there. He was just throwing the ball and they were just playing catch, So it's a little bit of a different story from that side of things. And if this was going into year 1 of Harris owning the team and we could get this thing done properly, then I'm for it. Let's bring the cameras out, because then we can really see the fans coming back out in droves. I still have trepidation of the existing regime dotting the I's and crossing the T's. They've gotten too many things wrong since they've been in place. Talking about the training camp fiasco last year, talking about some of the Sean Taylor stuff that's happening, misspelling players' names, getting the dates wrong on your crest. I have concerns that those simple blocking and tackling things would get highlighted on an episode of Hard Knocks that we know happen here, but the rest of the world doesn't. So I would rather it be a year from now, when Harris and Rails and Magic and all the guys got a chance to iron out and kick out some of the bad eggs, if you will, and then we actually look our best. Because training camp's on the 27th. These guys don't take over potentially till August 8th. Heaven help us.
Okay. All right. When you mention it like that, or you put it that way, okay, I got you. But I still feel that it would be a good thing. And yeah, you're right. Maybe if we have a spot checker, they can check to make sure that no one's name is misspelled, because the same thing could happen under the new group. It could.
Oh, yeah. It can. I think, what was it, last year, the year before? I think they just put Commanders on the back of everybody's jersey, or team on the back of everybody's jersey. Because that way, you're not going to spell it wrong. I mean, you're going to get everybody's name right. So, you know,
Wow. Oh man. Well, hey, brother, we're gonna see what happens. And time isn't on our side. It really isn't. So time will tell. Hey, I hear the music in the background, which lets me know that that's gonna bring another episode of the DMV Mess Hall to a close. Tailgate Ted, Rally Captain, you guys, thank you for listening. Remember, you rep it hard or you don't rep it at all. Rally Captain, Tailgate Ted, we're out.